And we are live! Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Trans Talks. I am your host. I almost said I am your guest. I am your host, Sammie James, back with another one of our trans faves. Please welcome to the screen the wonderful comedian, actor, writer, wonderful human being, D'Lo. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you, Sammy. And I'm going to be a host too today and guest at the same time.
All right, sure. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. So, first thing I ask on this show is for my guest to introduce themselves a little bit more. I specifically ask, what words do you use to describe yourself? And
Yeah.
that can be any type of identity words or descriptors. And then after that, anything else you'd like to tell people as an intro to yourself, you're welcome to do that as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So, like she said, like Sammy said, I am a Dilo, armadillo. No, just kidding. I'm Dilo. I'm queer, super queer, probably before I am trans, I think. Um, and I am an actor, writer, comic, but my whole career has been based off of me uh, doing solo based theater. Like that's the roots of it.
Mhm.
And I love to make people laugh and think in no particular order. And what else? I also I grew up as a community based artist and organizer. So a lot of my path in artistry has been around organizing around various social justice issues, but using art,
Mhm.
an arts organizer. Yeah. And did you want me to talk about like my history right now?
You can. I mean, I might ask questions that get into that, but if
No,
there's
no, no,
any,
no, no, that's fine. That's fine.
um,
I
and
like
then
questions.
yeah. So I know you primarily as a comedian, and I met you at a show where you had done an excerpt of, I believe it was To Tea or Not to Tea. Um I don't know the chronological order of the shows, but I believe that's the one that um you had at least done an excerpt of then.
Was this at Dixon?
Yeah, I think so.
Then it must have been either to tea or not to tea, or it was defunct, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I bring this up because, like I said, I primarily know you as a comedian, um, but you have your acting career, you have your writing career. Uh, what was your journey to all of these? Like, is
Hmm.
there one that came first? Have they always kind of existed simultaneously for you?
Yeah, I would say that like the the in order to perform I had to write. So like when I was younger, I played a lot of music, but it was hip hop that actually got me writing, and I was writing rhyme and poetry. And then in college, even though I was in the ethnomusicology department, I was also a student organizer, so poetry factored into that. And I was actually getting paid as a poet in college, so it even though I desired to be a producer of music, I ended up kind of like going, oh well, this performance stuff seems like it might take off, so let's just see where it goes. But it was only when I left LA, so I came out and it wasn't so cool with my family. So I moved to New York, and that's where I was like doing stuff at Wow. I was doing stuff with Susanna Cook. I was organizing different events with people who are like regulars. Like that's where I met like Universus and like just different people who were doing more performance slash poetry, but putting it
Mhm.
in the theater. And then because of that, and I've always been like really silly and stuff like that. Like my father could tell a really good joke, so I wanted to be just like him. So I ended up prefacing my poems with comedic short stories while I was on tour. And then pretty soon people started wanting me to just come and do comedy. I didn't
Mhm.
even call myself a comedian, but that's what was happening.
Yeah.
And then on top of that was the solo based stuff, the theater stuff. So that whole thing was happening at the same time, probably like early to mid 2000s was like when my when who I was and what I wanted to do was starting to shape up.
Yeah.
And the
Uh,
acting was always there with the solo based
yeah.
theater, but like the industry acting, even
Mm.
though like I think that I wanted that to happen sooner. I had met with
Mhm.
agents around the same time, but at that time it was not like people were like, "Oh, you're great, but we don't know what to do with you." So I was showcasing, but I was still super queer, like so
Yeah.
it was people didn't know. People didn't get the memo that we'd be the hot shit one day, even though they still
Mhm.
wanted to kill us.
Yeah, and like I knew that you had acting, like you had an acting career, or that you had that skill set. But it wasn't till like I think I was watching Sense 8, and I'm just like, wait,
You're like, I know that guy.
yeah, I was just like,
Yeah, that's my homie.
that sounds like I do know it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Sensei was great. That was like the super duper like I mean I had shot this is so crazy. I
Mhm.
had shot for Sensei day one of the whole project. I had shot on like one weekend, and then the next day I shot for Transparent.
Huh.
So it was all happening at the same time, but Sense8 was, it was just hyper queer, like there was
Yeah.
just like a big old slathering of queerness through that.
Yeah. Two more recent roles. If you, I figure I'll bring up, and if you want to say anything about them, if you can say anything about them, you can. But just so people know recent things that they have the opportunity to see you in. Um, and I knew about this, but it was just just looking stuff up just to refresh myself before I sat down
Yeah.
with you. I was immediately reminded of Death and Bowling.
Yeah. Super proud of that.
Yeah.
I love that piece. I love that piece. That is so good. And, like, my involvement in that film, like, it's just, I mean, I know that I'm not in it for that much, but
Hmm.
I feel like that was, like sometimes it's hard to pick what you want to do, like
Yeah.
if you want to take on, but I knew I wanted to do this film so badly, there was never a moment that I was like, should I be doing this? You know what I'm saying? And it's just gorgeous. The cinematography, the way that the story comes together. Um, I thought that Lyle did an exceptional job. I know that Lyle and I think Reese Ernst ended up looking at the piece and kind of like co-editing it together, or like we're really in the throes of it together to put it together, like the edit. And what came out of that is just exceptional. Exceptional. Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah.
for trans people, by trans people, the
You love
whole
to see it.
yes, the whole cast and crew were the whole cast was trans. The whole crew
Mm-hmm.
was mostly trans. I think that there was like one cast person who was not trans,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a couple of people who were like not trans, but they were super queer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So not to take away from any of your other roles, which have all been fantastic. But is Bros your first like big studio? Um.
Like film wise, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, film
Okay.
wise, yes. Because everything else was like episodic series that were,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so this will be the first feature that I'm in that is backed by a major studio.
Okay.
Um, and that was extremely fun. There are so many heavy hitters in that I am so honored that I got to be a part of it because I wouldn't even put myself in the same camp as these heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, T.S. Madison is in it. Uh, oh my God, I'm forgetting everybody's names. I was like, God, um, I could pull them all up. But you
Mm-hmm.
know, who was what? Simone. Simone from Drag Race was who just won last season was is in it, and some really great like Guillermo Diaz, great incredible gay actor, Monica Raymond, incredible queer actress, and who plays my partner is Becca Blackwell, who is a New York based incredible actor, and so I feel like I got to hang out. I'm not saying like some of them when I say heavy hitters, they're like higher
Yeah.
profile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everybody, like is talented and gorgeous and super loving, and it was such a
Mm-hmm.
great time. We didn't get to kick it with Billy Eichner a whole lot, but like everybody was super happy about being a part of this, and we had a great time.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I'm just remembering another thing I saw you in now as I'm talking to you, and I don't what I'm sure when if I ask it the way I'm thinking of asking it, I feel like the answer is like you need to be more specific. Um, because what I wanted to ask is what was the series of BuzzFeed videos you were in? But I feel like
Right.
that's
Yeah, that was a whole bunch of, well, it was either queer stuff, trans stuff, or
But was it like was it questions for a trans guy?
yeah,
It was like,
yeah, I think it was. I can't honestly remember. And
okay.
then right after that, I don't know, this was in BuzzFeed, but then there were stuff around like trans representation stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, just a heap of that kind of work.
Yeah.
Fresh out the gate, there were things like that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because I remember I was working um, at a nonprofit, and there was some presentation on trans stuff. I don't remember the specifics, uh, but like one of the things that was like showed was one of those videos. I'm just like, it's D'Lo.
Yeah. Yeah. I know sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I've done things.
Yeah.
I've done things that people see on their computers. Yeah.
Hmm. So I really like asking this question of um actors, people, who have some, acting background or career. And there are two ways to ask this. That like the like simple way is like dream role, and if like you have one that comes to you, go ahead and give that, but I'm more asking, like, what is something acting wise that you like the opportunity to sink your teeth into, or get to do that you haven't,
Yeah,
because I yeah.
totally. I want to do like really hijinks comedy stuff that puts me maybe not even as the main character, like maybe as the
Mhm,
best friend, but that I
mhm.
get to do all the crazy, dumb, idiot shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what a dream role would be for me. And I'm not saying that you can't do that as a main, but there's something delightful in the
Yeah,
supporting.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
yeah, that's what I would say is my dream role right now. I mean, of course, my dream role would be for something that I have written and that I put together and that I really believe in and stand by. But
Yeah, yeah.
also, yeah, like I like being the that's. I think that the thing is, I was talking to my friend about my Instagram and just trying to figure out like I don't really like social media, so I'm like, how do I get more into it and what do I need to do? And my homie was like, D, you're so silly, and nobody ever gets to see that part. Like you're trying to come off as this cool like person, and you're not that. And I was like, yeah, and I don't want to be that.
Mhm.
So that's what I want to get into. More silly hijink shit. I mean, this world is fucking crumbling, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
would like to, also keep people like engaged in a conversation around how to survive this kind of bullshit,
Mhm.
but do it in a humorous way.
Absolutely. Um, so, uh, would you like to tell the people a little bit about your coming out, coming home project?
Yeah. So coming out, coming home was this workshop that I did, and um, it was initially for the organization called Satrang, which is a South Asian queer organization in Los Angeles or in SoCal. So I wanted to put it together because there were we like up until that point the organization was catering to immigrant South Asians, and while there were second generation South Asian queer people in the organization, the parties were like very like Bollywood, very geared towards a
Mhm.
South Asian immigrant population. And what I was witnessing was people were coming together and they were just having a good time, but like very quickly getting drunk off their asses or whatever else they were doing. And I was like, this it's clear that people aren't okay. Like it was like super drunk, like wasted, right? And I was like, people aren't okay. This is the only place they can feel free, and it's almost like they've unleashed themselves in the space, and like
Mhm.
they went overboard, right?
Yeah.
And so then I was just kind of clocking this every time I'd go to these parties, and then a South Asian gay male died by suicide, and then another person that I knew was thinking about it, had suicidal ideation. And so I was like, look, we can't be calling ourselves an organization if we're not addressing some of these mental health things. Please let me do this workshop. And I had been facilitating workshops, artistic based arts workshops for forever since I was very young. And
Mhm.
then each year and as time goes on, you grow, and so the way you facilitate it changes, et cetera, et cetera. So I started that workshop, and I told them that we would have a public reading, and I told them for the public reading they had to invite three people who they would normally have not invited. And I said, trust me. And they were all nervous and everything like that. But I'm like, please, please, please bring them. So they all they all came. We had a public reading. The series went on for about 8 weeks, I think, or a little bit longer. And then we had a public reading. and it was beautiful, and it really changed the energy for the organization. So I did that in New York with Salga. I did it in San Francisco with Tricone, and I and it was just, it's not an art therapy workshop. It is a way to, through writing your coming out stories, or through writing where you're at with your queerness, there's a whole process. So like, people come in thinking that they're coming in for an artistic workshop, but then you get to really like pull things apart and look at it, but in the safety of community. And of course, I mean, as a facilitator, I also have to be like co-creating this space with them, right?
Mhm.
So but yeah, like this, through the bravery, literally, of people, pushing themselves to be truly, truly, truly vulnerable, I think that this is how we heal our communities. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when I know that when I'm on stage and I'm able to share, maybe not so much in stand up, but like maybe I'm able to share more in the theater. I know that even though it's through my story, that other people are also getting, like, look, being able to reflect on their own stories. And that's what you want to do, is you want to help people, or you want to be so vulnerable that it makes everybody in the room feel like they can be too, in a protective way. So
Yeah.
that, I'm very proud of that project. I i love teaching it or facilitating it. And now the process even is through a decolonization process. I just said process two times.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I ask two questions on this show every week. And this first one, I think one is my favorite question to ask people. The
Okay.
other one is hands down, I think, people on this show's favorite question to ask. But first, what gives you gender euphoria?
Oh, I think what gives me gender euphoria is to be able to be in a room of people. Doesn't matter how many people are in there, but the more people that are there, the more poignant it becomes. But not having to worry about anything about my gender or sexuality. Not even worrying about my body, but like, also, like, let's not talk about it. Like, let's just be. So that gives me gender euphoria. Kicking it with queer people who are like
Nice.
true super queers. You get what I'm saying? Not just like, I'm a gay, or like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
I might
there's a difference. Like
yes,
for, for anyone watching who is, there's a difference.
there's a difference. Yeah, like even with trans people, it's not like, just because you're trans doesn't mean that you're super queer, right? Like,
Uh huh.
so being in a room full of super queer peoples, that's that's the best shit.
Yeah. I think that gives me gender euphoria.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
yeah.
What is it for you? What's your answer been?
I mean, that's definitely it. And I think for me, yeah. Listen, you said you were gonna be a host. It's
Yeah,
like,
people want to know about you, Sammy.
yeah, okay. I think it is when I'm able to express my masculinity and femininity on my terms.
Mm.
Where I'm able to find like a men's department button down, but like it, that like fits my femininity. you
Mm.
know
I love that.
not just like the masculine
Yes,
side,
yes,
but where I'm just like, oh no, this
yeah. I totally understand
You
that.
know, because sometimes there are shirts that are just like, no, that's a men's shirt.
Yeah, that's a man. That's a
You
man.
know,
That's
I'm just like, oh,
no
that
doubt
is that is
that's a
this
man.
does I liked it, but this does not fit how I needed it to fit. But when I like can put that on and I'm just like, I know it's sold as a men's shirt, but like
Yeah, yeah. I totally feel that.
or vice versa, you
Yep,
know.
yep. I totally feel that. Yeah, like having things to help us present in the world the way we want to be seen, that's always a blessing.
Yeah, and it's when it when it is safe. When it is safe.
Absolutely.
When it is safe.
Yeah, we
I'm
can't.
prefacing this
Yeah,
answer so much. When it is safe.
yeah.
Cis confusion gives me gender euphoria. Like when it's the same like
Yes,
when it is not
that's so great.
like it is like I prefaced that like 5 times
Yeah,
because like I need to double take 5 times
yep,
before I have the euphoria.
yep,
You
yep.
know, where it is like a simple innocent huh,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, that doesn't have the then risk
yeah.
of
Of being verbally or physically
yeah,
assaulted.
of the huh going
Yep,
further,
yep.
you
I'm
know,
with you.
or it's like yeah, so what cis nonsense are you sick of?
Oh, what am I not sick of? Um, Gender reveals. Oh, good God. Um, oh my God, so much. The I know this sounds so silly, but like cis male, um, heterosexual thought. Like I don't understand why there's still like such this hard push for masculinity to be about being stoic,
Mhm.
because all of that pent up stuff is killing everybody else in the family. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that stuff, that's a little bit too serious, but that is, I'm so done with that. And I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I think those are probably the big, like that's the big peeve is patriarchy, patriarchy and racism
Yeah. Yep.
as done by cis people. Because I feel like in the QT BIPOC community, like people are at least trying. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're queer. So sometimes I'm like, like meaning like I'm not saying that all white queer people are amazing, just like I'm saying that not all of the LGBTQ umbrella plus, that everybody is truly queer. But
Mhm.
for cis people, I'm kind of like, like they just, I feel like a lot of bullshit is coming out from cis people who are white. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that people of color don't have their shit either. But what I'm saying is the white people that I know are queer and they're cool as shit.
Yeah.
For the
I mean,
most
listen, speaking as one, like white queer and trans people, we definitely suck sometimes. It's
Yeah.
it's like
I mean everybody sucks. Everybody sucks, but I will say that like I mean all the Karens, you know what I'm saying? All the Karens around racism are cis white women. You know what I'm saying? What is it? What were
I
they
don't
calling?
like
What are they calling
I
this?
don't like that I'm saying this. There is definitely a lesbian Karen somewhere. She's out there.
I know you're right.
She
You're
hasn't
right.
had her moment in
You
the
are.
sun yet, but she's there.
You are right.
The
Some of the
oh
best lesbians.
the trans woman Karen ran for governor of California.
So some of our best lesbians are turfs.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? Maybe we just move on to the next one.
You know what? I had more things to say. That's a good call. That's a good call because I had. Yeah. So, before we move on to the fun, silly question portion of this, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to make sure people know about you before we move on to questions like what's your favorite fruit?
Oh, so good. Okay, I have a show coming up in the summer. It's To Tea or Not to Tea is getting remounted at the Kirk Douglas in Los Angeles, which is a big, big deal for me.
Mhm.
And so I'm really excited about that. And I hope all the queer people in the universe come to see that show. That's all I have to say.
Okay, awesome. Okay, there's a question I usually ask at the start of this portion, but I spoiled it. What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, my favorite fruit. I would say that my favorite fruit is mangosteen, which is you get it in Sri Lanka.
Mhm.
It's purple. You open it up, and then there's white flesh in it, and it's so
Yeah,
fucking good.
I'm familiar with it. I have never had it, but I know what you're talking about.
So good, so good. And then the next one up is like guava or passion fruit. I love guava and passion fruit. I love and rambutan, which is like this.
That I've had.
Yeah, it looks like a lychee, but it is or a lychee, but it has hairs on it
Yep.
like wrinkles, and that is so good.
Yeah, it's good.
I could eat that all day. Yeah, so those are my favorite fruits. In America, I would say I love peaches and oranges. I feel like the peach is America's version of a mango
Cool.
or nectarine. Yeah, in that family.
Nice. So, I ask this question every week. What is your comfort food, comfort music, comfort movie?
Ooh, that is good stuff there. Okay. I love so many movies. What's a good comfort movie? Probably a childhood movie. I used to love like Pippi Longstocking, Willy Wonka, things like super hyper imaginative type
Uh-huh.
of things. So those were like, if I think back, like if that was on, I would just enjoy watching it. Um, but I do love a good rom com, that's for sure, and I will cry. I will cry at Hallmarks and Lifetimes and rom-coms. Thank you very much. Um, my favorite food would be my like home cooked food. Like I love this. You you take a piece of bread, put some paripu, which is like kind of like dal,
Mhm.
but it's not made the same way. And then an eggplant curry. I don't even like eggplant, but this eggplant curry is so fucking good. And then a little bit of chumbo, which is this coconut relish type thing. You put it together in a sandwich, and it's like the best thing. You're not supposed to put it in some bread, but for me, that's my jam.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, so good.
I'm comforted hearing that.
Yeah, yeah, it's just running. And then my comfort type of music would be um, I love I love a lot of music. I mean, I did ethnomusicology. I love music. I would say that my top favorite musics are like 90s R&B or just R&B, any kind of vocal like R&B throughout the decades. Soca, which is Caribbean music, and I love devotional music to pretty much anybody. Like if somebody's singing passionately about any god, I love it. If they're playing, if it's instrumentation, like I love that stuff. So those are the musics that like I feel got by. But I love a lot of anything that you can dance to or anything with really exceptional vocals.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite animal?
Oh, I think when I was younger, I used to always say monkey. I don't know why, but I used to always say monkey. I think that otters are cute. Like I think that sloths are cute.
Mm-hmm.
And today I saw a seal,
Nice.
and yeah, and I was like so happy about that because of what they symbolize. It's like protection and also like joy. So I felt really good about that. But I think I like a lot of animals. People say that they love elephants and stuff like that. Like,
I like an elephant.
yeah, elephants are amazing. And I love a lot of like sea creatures. I love a lot of animals. I don't think that I could have a pet, but I like animals. Oh, turtles.
I knew it was gonna be. I saw it. I was just like, oh, I want to hear this.
Yeah, turtles. I'm about some turtles.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is. I haven't asked this question in a while.
Ooh.
What is your favorite non-musical sound?
Laughter. Oh my God, I love it. Like, I keep thinking about, like, how did laughter come about? Like, people who had nothing, they were like cave peoples, and they were like walking around, and then they came up behind somebody and startled them, and they were like, oh, my bad. And then they would do that as a joke so that they could laugh. And then people would just prank each other because it was fun and it was funny. And I mean, I'm not saying that I know the origins of laughter. I'm just saying that what, like, whoever created us or however we were created, the fact that we can have delight and joy in the
Mhm.
and express it in laughter, my God, like, thank gods for that.
Nice. Nice. So, do you have any questions for me before we move on to the
What's
last two
your
questions?
favorite fruit?
Oh, favorite fruit?
And you can't say yourself.
Listen, that actually like I know that's low hanging fruit. It's uh I mean I always go back to blueberries. There's other ones that are great, but it's like
Do you like the sweet
honestly
ones
like
or the sour
blueberries are my comfort fruit. They're my comfort fruit.
ones? Yeah. Do you like them? They're very good for you, by the way. And meaning like they're
Mhm.
on all the
Antioxidants. Oh,
levels.
I know. Oh, I know.
Yeah. But but do you like the sour ones or the sweet ones?
You know, I like the sweet ones, but like I kind of like a tart. I like a
Mm.
tart fruit. I like a tart apple. I like a tart
Yep,
berry.
yep, yep. I like the tart ones. In fact, I don't like blueberries that much. They're probably at the lowest part of the list, but not because of anything else except that they're mostly sweet to me.
Yeah, I
I
get
like
that.
I like the tart ones the best.
Yeah, and I can't tell you what it awakens, but I feel like blueberries really just unlock a taste memory for me. Like they just like
Yeah,
they taste like a good time. They taste like a happy time.
it's a
You
good
know? It's
time.
like
Yes,
I
I
can't.
love that. I love it. I love that you said that. Tastes like
Yeah,
a good time.
I've been kind of into pineapple.
I love pineapple, and also I mean, all the fruits are good for you, but like pineapples have enzymes that help you digest other things. That's a
Mm-hmm.
win.
Yep. And pears are
You
definitely.
like the hard pears or the big booty ones, the softy guys?
Oh, I like a hard pear.
I love the softy
I
ones.
like if it's not like a berry or like something that's like is soft. I
Yeah.
want a crunchy fruit. You know.
Wow, I love that. I don't like pears. We almost are on the opposite side of the spectrum on two of them. But the soft bottom juicy ones, oh
Hmm.
my god. Obviously
Kiwi's good. I like a
kiwi.
kiwi. Kiwi's a good time.
Kiwi. I love kiwi. That is
See,
good.
we agree.
Yeah, 2 out of 2.
Yeah, cool,
Two
cool.
out of 4. Yeah, that's great. What about animals, Sammy?
Oh, it's armadillo.
I'm a Dilo.
Yeah,
It's
it's
amazing. Yeah,
ar-
armadillos are quite
yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, I like the weirdos. This is the second time the guest asked me. I'm just like this was literally Saturday. This was
Yeah,
I like the weird armadillo, porcupine, bat.
wow. Yeah, you like them rodenty kinds.
You
Yeah.
know, uh,
Possums?
what are those? Yeah, I like a possum. I can take a possum.
Possums are very strange to me.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, there's something I can't think of what it's called. I mean a red panda if we're go that's like I mean, the cutest thing on the planet.
Very cute. Pandas all across the board are hella
Oh
cute.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's why I like otters. I think that otters are so cute. Like I can't like I could look at otters.
Don't research otters.
Don't tell me about them.
No, I won't. I won't. I'm just saving it like don't like if
They
you
just
like
look
see like a
cute.
book on otters, just keep a
Yes, keep
happy
them
vision of
happy.
the otter.
Yes, we'll do that.
Yeah. So, who are some trans folks you think are doing good work? This can be in the arts, it can be in any field, activism, arts. If you know a trans designer,
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. I think that there's so many. I feel like
Yeah.
most of the people that I know are like doing amazing things, but off the top of my head, there are some like I'm trying to think of like trans mask folks. Not that I wouldn't use trans feminine folks, but like I
I
think
get
that
it.
sometimes we don't get to hear enough from about trans mask folks. So there's a couple of designers that one is Nick Casey and one is um, Leon Wu, and both of them are doing fashion. Like I think Nick's line was shoes and Leon's was suits. Can't fully remember, so my bad.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
these are people who are just doing their fucking thing, and they're very much community based. And then there's some folks that I know that are trans mask and thinking about trans bodies in regards to like fitness and all bodies. You know what I'm saying? Different shapes, sizes, abilities, etc. And that would be like Ace Morgan up in the Bay,
Uh-huh.
um, and then I'm thinking like out, like we can say that there's so many people who out there in the world that everybody knows about. Like I love that there are trans activists that are also in entertainment. Um, Not just Laverne Cox, but like MJ
Oh
or
yeah. Yep.
um, but then I think that there's like really grassroots folks who are like incredible, like Danby Salcedo and Blossom Michelle and wait, Blossom. Let me make sure that I said that right because I do not want to go on the air thinking that just know her as Blossom. Blossom Brown. And there, like, I know that there's just so many that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, one of
Yeah.
my boys, he is like, he's been working for, like, on behalf of so many grassroots organizations nationally. And he's in the back just doing his damn work and providing resources for so many people, not him personally, but like getting the resources for so many grassroots trans and BIPOC organizations. That's my boy Malachi Garza. And yeah, I have a lot of people in my
Yeah.
circles that are just doing really beautiful things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's honestly I think the hardest question I ask on this show because you need to like it's just like because we all know like for
Yeah. Yeah. And that everybody's doing the good work. But that's the other part too, is that like,
Mhm.
sometimes you see people and it's like,
Yeah.
is this upliftment or is it just so like a singular representation? Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
are
Yeah.
you using your shine to uplift people? Or are you using your shine to say like I'm queer and trans and I'm this is enough, which is fine,
Yeah.
But like
Absolutely.
who I'm thinking of when you say, oh, who are the trans people who you see out there, like, you know, working and also like really their heart is in community.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, final thing, you plugged the T for T show or the
To T or
to
not.
T or not to T.
Yeah. Death and
Um,
Bowling was T for T.
hmm? Yep.
Death and
Yeah.
Bowling was T for T.
Yeah. It's, um. So you plugged that, but is there anything else specifically if you want people to be able to follow you on social media? To tell them that. Um.
Yes, my handle's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
T Loco Kid. That's the handle for everything.
Okay.
And what can I plug? I don't know. I think that it's
Yeah.
I have like different, like the gigs that I have coming up that I never really talk about is the gigs that I do at different colleges and universities. But I also feel like it's important for me to like share uh, with and hear back from the college university students because there's still remnants of another world that young people are feeling like they are missing out on because pandemic, and there's only you can connect to people through social media, of course, but it's still far removed. And I feel like any place that can bring people together in community, like I want people to know, like, yo, like I'm doing this thing in this city. If it's like a Zoom thing, especially, then I'm like, everybody come because
Yeah.
maybe, maybe I'm just going all over the place, but I'm like, everybody come because you get to meet people, you get to hear people, you get to know that you're not alone. And
Uh
it's like,
huh.
it's just a
Yeah.
group. My motto is nothing without joy and nothing without collective. And that's where it's at.
Yeah, I love Zoom shows. I really do. It's just like
I love them too. I don't want to be out in the world catching all sorts of things,
there are I know there are only 12 of us, but we're from everywhere.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I do miss going out and performing comedy, but I'm like, there's it's I feel like it's leveled the playing field. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
absolutely.
So, that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dilo, thank you so much
Oh,
for talking to me today.
thank you for having me, Sammy. I love everything that you're about and everything that you do, and I'm so grateful. And you should do the show with someone else who will just ask you all the questions.
I listen. I'm down for it. If someone ever wants to interview me on this show, we've had guest hosts. There are other people involved with We Are Trans who have hosted this show. The, they've been busy a lot of times. Just the regular time slot of this show apparently just works for me now. But D. Lou, KJ Whitehead, Parker Perez, all fantastic. Have all guest hosted this show. If any of them ever want to interview me, I want to interview all of them.
There you go.
Dahlia Bell co-hosted this show. That would be a wonderful, amazing train wreck of a show that I'm really down to be a part of.
Yes.
And yeah, so speaking of other episodes of this show, you might be wondering, is this on a Wednesday night tonight? This is not when this show's on. Listen, this show will be on whenever it works for someone I really want to talk to, but we will be back at our regular Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday. You get 2 this week. I will be sitting down with the fantastic comedian, actor, and now musician Kyle Atwater. They are a delight to behold. Fantastic comedy, fantastic character work, and now fantastic music. So tune in for that. And We Are Trans has a new monthly show. We've had monthly shows the whole time, but now it's just the same thing every month. Every month starting this month. I almost said next month because for some reason February's short. So this month we have the first, it's happened before, but now it's monthly. We have the first edition of the Badass Trans Women of Comedy. If you're going to do one show every month, it's going to be 4 or 5 badass trans women comedians kicking your ass with laughter.
I want to see this. I'm looking up Kyle right now, and I want to.
It's they spell their name with it's Kile.
Okay, gotcha. And I want to know about this.
Yeah.
Badass trans folks of color. I mean, trans women. Sorry, of comedy.
I mean, listen, that show will happen. That show will happen. I can't host that show.
Look at Kyle. I'm gonna follow this person.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And so I hope to see you all at the next episode of this or at the Badass Trans Women of Comedy. Until then, until next time, take care of yourselves and